Okay, we're going to start now. We will start with the public comment aspect first. And Wayne Spindler. This is HSID.
Mr. Chair, is this general public comment or is this for one of the items on the agenda?
You want to start with item 1, or you want to go to general first?
It's the chair's prerogative on which.
I'd like to dispense with do the item 1 first.
Item 1? Okay, very good. Okay. Item 1, Los Angeles Housing and Community Investment Department report relative to 16 contracts for the operation of family source centers for the period April 1st, 2016 through March 31st, 2017.
Mr. Chair, how much time would you like on the clock? Would that be, we have it at 1 minute. Would you like me to change?
1 minute should be enough.
Yeah. Well, it's good that they're giving me my whole 1 minute, but the Godoy Research Center, I think, is a very good start. I know Mr. Weezer would approve if he were ever here at one of these meetings, but I think overall, just being given 60 seconds to talk about all of this, it just isn't enough time. So I know you've already approved the items. I know there's really not going to be any discussion that's of any relevance. I know that everybody's here that's going to speak. It's because they all got their contracts to get to. And I know everybody's in a hurry to get their money because that's what we're all here for, right? We're all here to get money. So that's the whole reason we have these puppet meetings. So go ahead and continue your puppetry, but like Margaret Thatcher said, socialism never works once you run out of getting other people's money to other people. There you have it.
Mr. Herman.
It looks like we're having a discussion regarding the operation of the Francine Family Godoy Source Center. However, Mr. Weezer and Mr. Price aren't here, as you heard that the negotiation of the contracts have gone far and beyond fast forward, so there's really not too much to brief on the subject matter. The money players are here. They're here to collect their purpose on an on-site pupil service and attendance, counselors, and related actions of service, which I find a bunch of nonsense. Because we all know that public education doesn't come first. If that was the case, African Americans would all be in college today instead of being homeless on the street. All. And on top of that note, most minorities, those who suffer from disability, would be able to engage in this process of the operation of Francine Godoy Family Source Center for the period of April 2016. Thank you.
Parker Anderson, Watts Labor Community Action. Sure. Sure, absolutely. Well, we've got 3 chairs. So. Yeah. Go ahead, Parker. And you, who else, sir? Raul Estrada. Maggie Cervantes. And Liz. Is it Liz? Liz? Hey. Come on up, guys.
Time getting organized. Hi, I'm Parker Anderson with the Watts Labor Community Action Committee. We run the Watts Southeast Family Source Center and have for some time. We're here representing the Coalition for the Family Source Centers, and what I'd like to do today is frame some of our thoughts about the CAO report that's before you today. I want to say to begin with, though, that this committee has been extremely supportive of the Family Source Centers. We've been through this a lot together, and historically, you've been phenomenal at finding ways to help us continue the delivery system and continue in a way that's sufficient to be respectful of all of our clients. What I'd like to do is just make 2 points before some of the smarter people on my right get into some of the details. First of all, the FSC program is really the end product of an 18-year city effort. the Family Source Center program actually started in 1998 as part of the Family Development Network. This is the longest running delivery system the city's operated on behalf of poor and disenfranchised families. And so we feel that we've seen this evolve from an information referral system to a highly sophisticated metric program where we measure outcomes, where we have independent Cal State evaluation. We're proud of what we do, and it's demonstrable, and the return on the city's investment is highly significant. Secondly, I'd also like to point out that the city's focused next on its homeless effort and what needs to be done for the 26,000, probably many more, that are actually on the street. What we'd like to bring to your attention today is that we are really part of that homeless effort, because we're really the front line in preventing the poor and disenfranchised families from becoming homeless and being on the street. So we really see ourselves as part of that service delivery continuum. We'd like you to view us as part of that homeless effort in preventing those families from joining the folks on the street. I'd like to pass to my colleagues. And
Good afternoon. My name is Raul Estrada. I'm the Executive Director for El Centro de Ayuda, but I'm not here today on behalf of El Centro. I'm here on behalf of the Family Source System, as Parker mentioned. So if I can just very quickly say that, yes, we're not talking about a new pilot program. We're not talking about a new program. We're talking about a program that has evolved over the last 18 years, a program that's gone from units of service to 100% outcome-based, 100% a cost-effective, 100% outcome-based program, and a program that's actually been looked at by the entire state of California for the work that we're doing. So, bottom line, it's a tough decision. Where do we go to keep this program intact? But the truth of the matter is, by reducing, if we should look at the reduction from 800,000 to 563, we will, by all intents and purposes, go from a comprehensive case managed program to an information referral only program. We will not be an intensive case managed program. That's not going to happen. I strongly recommend that we consider and look at how we can keep the 16 recommended entities that participated in this hellacious RFP that we just went through at 800,000 if at all possible. I appreciate your support, and I know it's a tough decision.
I want to emphasize that we've created a model here throughout the city that is highly effective. The city-funded FSC model is really transformative work. We are making an impact on youth and families for generations to come. All communities deserve this program. But I think one thing that perhaps gets lost is all of the leverage resources and services that the FSC contractors have brought to the communities at no cost to the city. I just want to use the Pacoima, the El Nido Pacoima Family Source Center as an example. We have partnered with county agencies, with local businesses, with nonprofits, with volunteers, and as a result, we have a full-time independent study program funded by LACO, a DPSS worker on site, a biodynamic community garden funded by foundations, and volunteers are engaged in working with our families. It promotes health and science. We are in the process of pulling permits to build a commercial kitchen and job preparation program that, along with the Business Academy, we're just one example of the work that is being done that is not costing the city funding at all, but is really through the partnerships and the innovative vision that the Family Source Center operators provide, and we have demonstrated that in Pacoima. We really urge you to continue to keep this model in the city fully funded. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maggie Cervantes, New Economics for Women, and we operate 2 Family Source Centers in San Fernando Valley of the 3, and the CAO recommends actually defunding 2 of them in San Fernando Valley, and we think that's very unjust, given the San Fernando Valley represents about 1/3 of the population, and I just want to also emphasize that it's not only an anti-poverty program and system, but it really should be shown as a prevention of homeless families. And we're talking about families, not just individuals. And so I really hope that you can fund all 16 at full level of $1,800,000. Also, $800,000, sorry. But also really look at the $1 million that is being used to fund LAUSD and to see if that $1 million can then be given to the FSCs directly, and having LAUSD fund in a separate from the general fund, and switch those monies around to give us more money to operate so that we can be fully funded.
Thank you. Kristen Grimm. Sandra Bryant and Michelle Costello Ferris.
Good afternoon. Kirsten Grimm, Coalition for Responsible Community Development. I am here to speak a little bit about the Southeast area. We're very excited to see that All People's Community Center has been recommended to run a Family Source Center in the Southeast area. I do want to urge the committee to fund All People's and all of the other Family Source Centers at the full $800,000 level. In the Southeast area in particular, 39% of families live at income below poverty, so the services are critical. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Sandra Bryant, Executive Director of All People's Community Center. And I'm speaking today as Director of All People's, but also as a community member who has spent her entire life in the Southeast area. We were definitely excited to receive recommendation for funding, but also disappointed with the CAO's recommendation. And we would like to recommend full funding for all 16 Family Source Centers. And I think it's been evident by the previous speakers that the city has an opportunity to continue to be proactive and rather reactive. This is a prevention program that ensures that our families are able to increase their income, that our young people are able to find that opportunity to go to college. It really is prevention, and as a city, I think we should really take a step back and look at how many times we're reacting to things that have happened when we have the opportunity not to put another Band-Aid on the situation. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Michelle Costello Alferez, PSA Coordinator with LA Unified School District. Since 2014, we've been able to, through this partnership, serve over 1,500 students and over 2,400 families. And I think it's with this partnership that we also have been able to provide 270 parent workshops for students and families throughout the district and throughout the city, which is very important. And, we as a school district fully support the Family Source system in and of itself because it allows us to refer families and to refer students immediately to the services that they need instead of through time. And so I recommend, on behalf of the district, also fully funding all 16 Family Source Centers. It's with their programs and with their support that we're able to provide students and families with these resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Joanna Fontanelle, or Fontanet. Joanna, help me with the pronunciation. Fontanet. William William. And Valerie Mendez. Please.
Good afternoon. I'm here on behalf of Chief Stephen K. Zipperman, Chief of School Police Department. My name is Joanna Fontanet. I'm a Deputy Chief with Los Angeles School Police Department, 23 years. I'm here on behalf of Family Source Center. We have a arrest diversion program since August of 2014 in which we have a program to help youth to divert them from being put into the system. This program, since 2014 of August, we have sent 600 juveniles through this program. Of the 600 juveniles, 400 have successfully completed the program, and 153 are receiving counseling services through the Family Source Center. 47 have failed. Of the 647 students have failed to complete the diversion program and have been forwarded on to the probation department, and they have become a statistic. Our intention and our philosophy of the school police is to mentor and divert youth away from criminal behavior. And we are not about the prison, school-to-prison pipeline. We're about raising youth to become responsible adults and to protect our future. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is William Etu. I work for the Los Angeles School Police Department, and I'm the arrest diversion coordinator. The Los Angeles Family Source Centers are a integral role in us being able to keep kids out of the juvenile justice system through efforts of counseling and other services provided. We have numerous success stories of students that have, been diverted for minor violations of the law and have gone through the family source counseling, and through that have either changed their lives or become better students and better parts of our community in Los Angeles. I don't want to talk too much about the success stories because I have a success story to my left right here in a young lady named Valerie Mendez.
Good afternoon. My name is Valerie Mendez. I attend Tomayer Academy High School. I was referred to this program because I was under substance abuse of marijuana. I think this program is really helpful, and it has been really helpful for me because it has helped me grow up like a person, and it is a choice that they're giving us to fix our behavior. And I think this program should help more kids that really need help, and it can be a really support to families and
So as Valerie stated, I mean, it's definitely made an impact in her life working with these family source centers, and I truly believe that this is a program that we need to continue because our goal is to, keep children in school and make them, great members of our community.
Valerie, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
You came here. Your other classmates aren't here. You made this choice. You're starting on a career that all of us started on, speaking up and speaking out for things that we believe in. And so you're on a great start, and you've made the right choice today. You made what we call the choice of leadership. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Jacqueline Olivo, Brenda Shockley, and Jackie Robinson Baisley. Brenda? Jackie?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Jacqueline.
Good afternoon. My name is Jackie Olivo, and I'm representing the PSA division for Los Angeles Unified School District. One of the things that I would like to mention, I was one of the PSA counselors that worked with Valerie when she was first referred to the Family Source Centers. And as you heard, she has made remarkable gains. When she came to me, she was not on the path of graduating from high school. She will be graduating from high school this June. On top of that, she's been clean for the last year and a half or so. And this is thanks to the partnership that we have with the Family Source Centers. The fact that they actually have the programs on site to provide the assistance to our families and our youth, not only the substance abuse program, but programs like anger management, after school tutoring programs, individual counseling, and other programs that assist our families within the community. That's really where it comes. And I think that if the programs were not on site, our youth probably and families wouldn't be as successful as they're coming into the door and looking for help.
Brenda.
Thank
Hi.
you. Good afternoon, honorable committee members, HCID staff, Family Source Center agencies, clients, and residents of the City of Los Angeles. I am Brenda Shockley, President of Community Build, a community development corporation established in 1992 in response to the civil unrest of that year. Community Build has been a contractor with HCID and its predecessor department, CDD, since 1994. Community Build has operated the Southwest 2 Family Source Center for the past 5 years. I am proud to state that during these 5 years, up to and including today, Community Build has been one of the highest performing FSCs in the system, consistently receiving the department's 4-star commendation for excellence. Community Build is not recommended for FSC funding. Community Build appealed this action by the department. Those appeals have been denied. While the lack of recommendation and rejection of our appeals is disappointing, Community Build believes the greater concern is the department's focus on process at the expense of those whom the program is created to serve, the youth and families in our communities with the greatest need. The department appears to be so invested in protecting and defending its process, it has lost sight of the customer. The department is not the customer. HUD, CDBG regulations, nor the RFP process, particularly where the department asserts sole discretion for the process and implementation of the Family Source system, never intended to ignore or sacrifice the best interest of youth and families who are the real customers. To make a recommendation that closes a program that has, by the department's own standards, provided excellent service to thousands of low-income residents, increased family income by millions of dollars, and increased academic achievement and access to hundreds of youth, including those at risk of gang involvement, values form over substance, and rewards process over performance. Thank you for the opportunity to be heard. It is important to Community Build to express our concerns. We owe that to our outstanding staff and our loyal and appreciative clients. That said, Community Build urges the committee to fund all FSC contractors at the level of $800,000 annually, as recommended by the department. Thank you.
Thank you. And Jackie.
Good afternoon, Chairman Cedillo and council members. Today I'm here on behalf of Board President Steve Zimmer, who's in Washington, D.C., lobbying for increased special education funding. I've submitted a letter that I'm going to read in part for the record. Chairman Cedillo, I write you today in strong support for the collaboration between LAUSD and the City of Los Angeles through the Family Source Centers. More specifically, I write to advocate for full funding for all 16 Family Source Centers under the present model, which equals $800,000. Through this collaboration, we have changed the way we work. As you may know, my field office is intentionally co-located at the Youth Policy Institute Hollywood Family Source Center. Quite literally every day I see LAUSD staff working with Family Source staff. Referrals that used to take weeks or months now take minutes. Where once families needed to take 2 or 3 buses between school and the center, they now walk between offices. Gone is the fiction that there is a separation between LAUSD, LA City, and our communities. Family stability has increased, interventions are more successful, and graduation rates are on the rise. I am cognizant of the many priorities and strains on city finances, and even so, I am asking for you to invest in success and change. The only way we can continue this work is for the committee to recommend continued funding at current levels at all sites across the city. LAUSD stands ready and prepared to continue and expand this partnership, and I personally stand ready to assist in any way I can. I hope that I can count on your support. All my best, Board Member Steve Zimmer. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Adriana De La Torre, Carlos Vasquez, and is this Tani or Tammy Membrane? See, sure. It's your writing. Tammy? Please join us.
Hello, my name is Adriana De La Torre. I'm a PSA counselor for the Los Angeles Unified School District, and I'm placed at the Family Source Center in Pacoima, run by El Nido. This is my first year actually working with them, and I've seen an increase in families getting support. Pacoima is one of the they have a lot of poverty, so they need the support from the Family Source Center. I've seen it not only with us, with the families that come through me, through the schools, through the Family Source Center, but also with the other PSAs that are not here. I'm representing them. They as well. We share each other's stories about success with the families that we work with. It's a continuous work throughout the year. We strive to make their lives a little bit better, not only by giving them the support that the FSC can give them, but as well as us, because we help them navigate the school system, which a lot of families don't know, and we teach them advocacy, because that's very important, in my opinion, for families to move forward with their kids and to know their rights.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Carlos Vasquez, representing Coalition for Responsible Community Development, and I'm here in support of All People's Community Center, a brand new family source for the community, and the other family source organizations that are going to be funded. We would like to share a little bit of, we will be integrating the Family Source and the Warsaw Center that are located at Los Angeles Trade Tech College. And we just wanted to share a quick story about Larry, who I met today. He just left incarceration about 3 weeks ago. And as I met with him, I noticed in his eyes that he seemed like he didn't know what to do. And I know the Family Source Centers fully working with the Warsaw Centers and the other Business Source Centers and the other educational institutions in the community and the nonprofits, that we can really, truly make a difference in Larry's life. He has 2 children he hasn't seen for a while. So he's looking for services so that he can get his family back and he can become successful and independent. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Tammy?
Good afternoon. My name is Tammy Membreño. I'm the Executive Director of Barrio Action Youth and Family Center. We service the El Sereno and Lincoln Heights area. And like many of my colleagues today, I am here to support the system, the Family Source system. One of the, the concurrent discussion about all the services that we provide, I think it comes to existence in some of the work that has been done in many of our communities. For example, we have a charter school on our center, and we work with another in Lincoln Heights. These are the kind of families that we need to work with in terms of getting youth, out-of-school youth, back into an educational system. Lifting families out of poverty is essential. I think that looking at some of the families that are on the verge of becoming homeless, I think we need to look at that more carefully and be able to say to them, we have the support, we have the services that can make you whole. And I think that that's one of the discussions that the city is having about homelessness, and we cannot allow our families to get into those numbers. So I am here to support the Family Source Center system along with all of my colleagues today. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, we have Cecilia Castillo, Fernando Chacon, and Sandra Figueroa.
Hi, Cecilia Castillo here on behalf of Councilmember Bob Blumenfield. He submitted a letter back in June when the RFP was going out because Canoga Park is unfortunately number 16 on the list. We're here to urge you to fully fund all 16 centers. There is a real need in the West Valley, and if Canoga Park is closed, that is the only family source center in the West Valley, and the neighborhoods of Canoga Park, Winnetka, and Reseda will be in great need. The closest center is 10 miles away, and when there is not sufficient access to public transportation, that is a real hardship for our communities. So we urge you to fully fund all 16 centers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank you for allowing us the opportunity to be here. I'm just here in support of all the family source systems, and I would like to ask all the partners to please rise. I know that they all going to have a chance to speak, so please rise. Thank you. Therefore, I'm here on behalf of El Centro del Pueblo, and we're also providing services in the Echo Park area and Cypress Park area. So I just want to say that, once again, I'm here in support of all the family source systems that have been doing a great job. And there's been surveys done through Northridge, and so we're very proud for the surveys that have come in and the great job that everyone's doing. So I want to pass it on to Sandra Figueroa.
Yeah, good afternoon, council members.
Good afternoon.
We were very, for us, we were very honored to be able to get recommended for funding to extend to the Cypress Park area. As you know, Cypress Park had a city-funded family source center, and there's a big need there. And so I was happy that the city put part of that system there. But one of the bigger things is, as I was reflecting, this program for many years, and you've heard it started with the Youth Advocacy program, then the Family Development Network, now Family Source, is the safety net program. It's the only program in the city that provides safety net services to low-income families. It does target academic achievement, our high school rates when the unaccompanied minors, the immigration issues was big last year. We serviced all those kids. Um, the VITA program. You're familiar with all the programs that it funds, but the leveraging of funds is really big with DMH and everything that council member you want to do with homeless and bring all these services together. We've been able to do that. So I'm here to support that you recommend all the Family Source Center funding at $800,000. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you.
I didn't prepare.
You guys have any questions?
No, I
Sir?
don't.
Comments?
Yes, I want to thank everybody that came to share with us today. I especially wanted to associate myself with comments from Brenda Shockley of Community Build. I will confess to being outcome-oriented in my tendency, but it seems to me that we have a process that places a premium on an application and goes a long way to overlook the work that's being done. And I just want to call folks' attention to the fact that when you change from a provider that your own evaluation says is doing a great job, it has an impact on the fabric of the neighborhood. So now, instead of my neighbor saying, I went to Community Build and I had a good process, you should go there too, which is how these things kind of work. Now they have to say, go someplace that we don't know about, and that's completely new to us. And the new place may be great, but that's going to take a while to permeate the community, and I think we'll lose time and effectiveness in exchange for a process that we can hold up and say this is a really good application process. I mean, the point is, in our opinion, the point is to get the best players on the field, not to demonstrate that you have the most sterling process. So we want those comments entered into the record, and CD8 hopes to work with HCID in the future to help with this challenge.
Thank you. Let me attach myself to those comments and then read the recommendations that we're putting forth. 1, receive and file the CAO report. 2, adopt HCID report with the following amendments. Negotiate and execute new contracts with 11 contractors for the period of April 1st, 2016 through March 31st, 2017. Utilize the $1 million LEUSD funding to fund the 5 FSCs recommended for a general fund allocation from April 1st through June 30th, 2016, and refer recommendations D and E to Budget and Finance Committee for general fund requests for the 5 Family Source Centers and the LAUSD Pupil Program. LAUSD Pupil Program. Okay, no objection? Nope. So will be the order.
Mr. Chair, that takes us to item number 2, communication from the Mayor and Chief Legislative Analyst report relative to the 42nd program year of the Housing and Community Development Consolidated Plan.
Okay, public comment. Herman's not here. Brandy Orton. Nancy Volpert. Wayne Spindler, not here. And someone here for Restore LA? Alex, Restore LA proposal for Great Streets?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Brendy?
Thank you very much. I'm here speaking on behalf of the Los Angeles Aging Advocacy Coalition, as well as St. Barnabas Senior Services. We would like to thank you for last year for restoring the funding cuts to the evidence-based health and wellness programs. We would like to encourage you again this year to restore those funding cuts. These programs are evidence-based, tested. They serve our most frail and most vulnerable seniors in the community, and they actually empower people to take care of their own health through teaching them about these chronic conditions. Chronic conditions lead to the highest rates of mortality as well as disability, and it truly is a cost savings to the system if we empower people to take care of themselves early on by teaching them about these chronic conditions and the money that it saves ultimately by supporting those programs. So we ask that you continue to support funding for evidence-based health and wellness programming.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Nice to be back here. I'm Nancy Volford, Director of Public Policy at Jewish Family Service of Los Angeles, a multi-service agency. And I really appreciate, as my colleague Brandy said, your reinvestment and continued investment in our frail seniors. We remain concerned with the cuts from this year and last year, and while we are appreciative of the general fund supplement, obviously those funds become at risk. Our other challenge is once again the cuts to domestic violence shelter funding. We had a small cut again this year on top of large cuts the prior 2 years, and are once again hoping you will ensure that those funding challenges are met on the general fund side, but also that we continue to explore with the Housing and Community Investment Department more stable sources of funding for domestic violence shelter operations as well as for programs for frail seniors.
Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm the Senior Vice President of VEDC. The Restore LA program in support of the Great Streets is a retail attraction program to recruit and assist in lease negotiations for prospective businesses. Additionally, Restore LA will work in the area of job retention on the Great Streets. This is a program that VEDC does not currently provide, sir. From 2002 to 2011, VEDC ran a similar program in downtown Los Angeles, the Downtown LA Retail Attraction Program with the City of Los Angeles, a very successful program. The mayor has supported our Restore LA with an additional $50,000 grant from the mayor's fund, as he believes strongly in it. Restore LA will benefit the communities with the attraction of business and the retention and creation of jobs. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Comments? Okay. Recommendation, adopt the CLA report? Oh.
Mr. Chair, did you want me to make a presentation, or
Yeah,
I?
report.
Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
Hi. Good afternoon. Clay McCarter with the CLA's office. The budget before you is the consolidated plan budget. It allocates U.S. Department of Housing Urban Development grants, 4 grants in total. The CDBG Community Development Block Grant, the Home Grant, which is funding a variety of housing programs, the ESG Grant, which funds homeless services, and the HOPWA Grant, which is provides housing for persons with AIDS. Our office has reviewed the mayor's proposed budget and recommends numerous funding amendments to allocate a total of $120 million. Available resources for each grant are comprised of the entitlement, the program income, and any reprogramming savings. So 3 of the grants have increased resources compared with the last year, the 41 program year. However, CDBG has $10 million in reduced resources. And this can be explained with a number of ways. The first issue with the reduction is that last November the city had to reprogram $23 million of CDBG in order to meet the HUD timeliness rule, which states you can't have 1.5 times your current entitlement. So because the city reprogrammed so much of that CDBG last year, there was less savings available to be reprogrammed now and put into the 42nd budget. The other is that the CDBG entitlement was cut by HUD by $200,000, and there was a little bit less program income coming in for CDBG. Regarding the reprogramming of CDBG, the mayor's office identified over $2 million in reprogrammed savings, and after further analysis, our office found an additional $2 million to bring that total to $4 million, which we've applied to the budget as available resources. So with that, I'll take any questions the committee might have.
Mr. McCarter, thanks for the report. As always, well done. It's not an easy task to deal with CDBG and block grant allocation, so thank you so much. I do have a couple of questions. They're more just for my information. And they're not in any sort of order, so other than sort of in your report as they're laid out. So the AIDS prevention sort of cut of the $375,000, I totally understand based on the description here. I also understand the recommendation being made to the mayor in their proposed budget. How are we going to aggregate some of those requests? I mean, this is sort of just one example. Are there many more from this process that we're going to be asking, separate and aside from the last item that we took up
Yes,
on
so
FSCs?
in the current program year, a number of these public service programs were split funded between CDBG and general fund. So we would be, our office, when the mayor releases his proposed budget, we would be checking to see if that continued. Those general funds were also applied to bring those programs in line with how they're funded now, currently, in the 41st year. So we would be checking that, and then when we prepare our report to council on the budget, we would be discussing if there were any amendments that needed to be made in order, if the council so wished, to increase general funding.
Got it.
For purposes like for the AIDS line item, for the aging, etc.
So, yeah, I just want to make sure they don't fall through the cracks. I mean, the previous conversation on FSCs and making sure that the general fund helps with that gap. I just imagine that the budget committee is going to want to weigh in on that, despite our action. So you all are keeping obviously.
Yeah, yes, we are keeping track. Yeah.
And then as you move down the economic development there, the reduction of economic development program delivery, the $1.6 million, it sounds like the department identified.
They did, yes. That line item pays for staff at the department, and they've identified that reduction.
Is this just authority positions that they have that they're not going to fill? Or, I mean, it seems like a pretty significant cut
It
that
does.
they identified. That's good news, but
yeah,
how's that being?
I don't have the particulars on the difference in what the mayor provided compared to what their request was, if they want.
Hi, this is Meg Barkley with EWDD. That reduction was kind of based on our current spending rate on program delivery. That's also funds that we can only really spend for projects that happen, and so it has to do with sort of our. It is funding staff time. It definitely supports staff time, but the budget that the CLA report recommends kind of rebalances our funding for staff to be more appropriate to the workload that we have right now.
Okay, so it's not like we're losing something significant. This is sort of what the reality is given the workload and where you are. I don't mean to play the part of Chairman Price, lots of P's in that, but I just want to make sure we're not losing anything. So it sounds like this is all good.
In other reports to the Jobs Committee and the Economic Development Committee, we have been reporting on how we've been sort of building up the economic development side of the house at EWDD, and this sort of, as we get more projects online and keep going, I think our program delivery needs will probably increase, but just based on a look at our current spend rate, and we felt like that this was a more appropriate funding level for this year.
Great. Well, thank you for the admission there, because that's always helpful when you're dealing with this. $1.6 million is significant in this conversation. As you move down, you've got the removal of the VEDC Restore LA program, and Mr. Guerrero testified to that effect a second ago. And then you've got the addition of the microloan program. It seems to me that there's some synergy opportunities between those two programs, given sort of what VEDC does, and they're looking at it from a sort of citywide perspective. How do we envision that microloan program working? Because it sounds like the grants between $10,000 to $50,000, it really is sort of a small program. Can you explain a little bit about the genesis?
Ms. Barkley can explain the microloan.
To that as well, actually. That was part of our original CDBG request as well this year, and in the past, other reports also to Jobs and to Economic Development Committee, microloans has been a request from a couple of council members, questions about that. It actually fills a need in our kind of continuum of programs. Our small business program only goes down to $50,000 because it's funded with Section 108, which is money we take out a loan from HUD and then we loan it out to a business. And it doesn't really make much sense to do smaller loans with that money because of the extra administrative step. With CDBG, we could do a microloan program that seems to have been, there's been some interest. And also we've had interest from potential borrowers, folks that call my small business lending officer asking for less than the lower limit. So we kind of already have a pipeline of requests that we could start to meet with this amount. And It is a small amount for this year, but it's what we felt we could put out in the first year. Reasonably, we didn't want to come back and explain like why we had left over, but we think it's possible that we could put this out this year after, you know, spending some time to stand up the program as well.
Well, I would just encourage you to work with VEDC in the future. I understand why the accounting is the way it is, but they really do have a tremendous sort of portfolio and expertise. So, you know, for example, the ability to negotiate leases for small businesses and incubate businesses into getting into larger businesses. Whenever the city of Los Angeles or a department makes a call on behalf of a business, the price goes up. And here, a not-for-profit helping, in addition to leveraging all of their micro and business loan programs, I think we'd be well suited to figure out a way to work together with them, especially if it's going to be a citywide sort of effort. So I would just encourage you to sort of work and talk with them about that. As you go down to neighborhood improvements, skipping housing and related programs, you've got the reduction to the city attorney's TARP program. I see it's based on prior expenditure history. Is that because we're making ground in that area and there's less need?
Unfortunately, no. We actually reprogrammed almost $1.5 million from those two programs in November. So the budgeted amounts that we're recommending of the $200,000 for CARE and the $600,000 for TARP is based on their historical spend rate over the last few years.
Okay. I mean, I was hoping this was a good news sign that things are doing better in that area in terms of sort of service delivery, but it sounds like...
And one thing I can add is if they do spend all of these monies here to this reduction, we will be asking for it to do a mid-year reprogramming report in about 6 months' time. So if there's additional monies found and these two programs have spent to this limit and still can use some more funding, then we can address that need at that time.
Great. Well, again, well done. This is never an easy sort of exercise to go through, and I think it's more than fair. So thank you for your hard work.
Sir? Good. Okay. Adopt the CLA report.
Thank you.
No objection? That adjourns our meeting.